I'm Mark Kavanaugh for Cavi Coaches, and today I'm going to coach you up on drawing position time graphs. Today we're going to discuss drawing kinematic graphs. Specifically in this video, we're going to talk about drawing position time graphs, or X versus T graphs. So the first thing that you need to know that's important is the types of motion that we're going to graph. First, we can graph not moving, constant velocity in both the positive and negative direction, speeding up in the positive direction or negative direction, and slowing down in the positive and negative directions. So the important thing to remember for position time graphs is, number one, that the slope of a position time graph is the velocity. So if we look at this graph that's given, the slope is 0. That means the position does not change. That means the object is not moving. It has a 0 velocity. So let's look at some constant speed examples. So here's a graph that has a positive slope. The slope does not change, and which means that the object is moving in the positive direction at a constant speed. In this graph, we have a negatively sloped line. So the slope is negative and it does not change. That means the speed doesn't change. So that means the object is moving in the negative direction at a constant speed. The most important thing to remember is that slope is the velocity. So the velocity is negative and constant in the second graph, positive and constant in the first graph. So what happens if the speed does change? So we have to remember that the slope of a tangent line shows us the instantaneous velocity of the object, or the velocity right at that specific moment in time. So if we look at a graph that's not linear, we have a position time graph that is curved, we're going to look at tangent lines. We can see that we have a 0 slope, and as time goes on, we can see those tangent lines get steeper and steeper, and they're sloped in the positive direction. So the tangent line sloped positively, and the slopes getting steeper as time passes means that that object is traveling in the positive direction and is increasing in speed. So this shows an increasing positive velocity. So if we look at this curve, we can do the same thing, draw tangent lines all throughout, and we can see the first one is 0, and then the tangent lines after that are sloped negatively. And as time increases, the steepness of the tangent lines increases. And this shows that the speed is increasing in the negative direction. So what happens, what type of graphs means slowing down? So if we look at this curve, we can draw a tangent line, and this tangent line is sloped positively, which means that it's traveling in the positive direction. Then as time goes on, that slope flattens out, the steepness decreases. So this graph is showing that the speed is decreasing in the positive direction because the tangent lines are sloped positively, and the slope is getting less and less steep as time progresses. So if we look at this graph here, we can see that the tangent line is sloped negatively to begin with, so it means it moves with initial velocity, and the slope gets less and less steep, but they're still sloped in the negative direction, and this shows that the speed is decreasing in the negative direction. So let's do a summary of the position time graphs. We can see that we have a horizontal line, means the position doesn't change, it's not moving. We have a positively sloped line. Line means that it's constant speed and positive direction. We have a negatively sloped line, which shows that it is moving in the negative direction at a constant speed. If we look at this curve, we can draw the tangent lines to show that the tangent line slopes are increasing over time, and that means it's speeding up, moving in the positive direction, because the slopes are sloped positively. If we look at this graph, we can see that the slopes are sloped negatively and getting steeper, which means that this is speeding up in the negative direction. If we look at the graph that we looked at before of the slopes getting less and less steep in the positive direction, that means that this is slowing down in the positive direction. And if we look at our final graph of the 7th version of motion that we can have in an intro physics course, we can see that the slopes are getting less and less steep. They're sloped negatively, which means that the object is slowing down in the negative direction. So now if we take any combination of those 7, we can combine them into one graph. So you can see here at 5 seconds, the motion changes. We can look at tangent lines all the way through up to the dashed line, and we can see that that tangent line is showing that the slope is increasing. So that means the object is speeding up in the positive direction for 5 seconds. When we draw the tangent line, it extends because the line is linear, which means it's moving at a constant speed in the positive direction. This means that the object speeds up and eventually reaches a constant speed. So think about entering a highway, you speed up until you reach your cruising speed. All right, so let's look at a challenging version of this. So we can see in this graph that we have a curve that changes at about 5 seconds. So what are we going to do? Let's draw tangent lines to see what's going on this graph. So we can see that the tangent lines are sloped negatively, and up to 5 seconds, the slope is decreasing. So it means it's moving in the negative direction and slowing down. What's happening after 5 seconds? Well, the tangent lines are still sloped negatively, but now the steepness is getting steeper and steeper. So it means that this object is moving in the negative direction and speeding up. So this would be an object just moving, if we decided west was negative. We're moving west and we're slowing down, we get a stop sign, and then we speed back up. So this is how you can use position time graphs. I hope this was helpful. I hope you have a great day and an even better time.
If you found this video helpful, don't forget to click the like button down below and subscribe to my channel, Cavi Coaches, and follow me on Instagram and Twitter @CaviCoaches.